Last month alone, the word escort was Googled 11 million times, which honestly, is that even a surprise with how many single men there are unable to attract and keep the woman that they want? Or even with how many men who are stuck living in a sexless marriage? It seems like men are looking for something. They're looking for solutions that are not being met with relationships or with modern women, but no one is really talking about this. Now, what I'm about to share with you is not ordinary information. These are the deep, dark truths about human psychology, and understanding the sex industry and why men see escorts will teach you many truths about men and women, almost more than anything else. And over the past 2 years of my life, I've learned these truths firsthand with speaking to over 1,000 men who are addicted to sex workers and working with a select few of them to break free and build new lives and relationships. Upon getting started, I quickly learned their motivations for seeing sex workers. And not all of them, but most of them you can imagine are, the classic kind of nice guy, who are single and they're desperate for intimacy, but they're not able to get that intimacy from women because they have low self-esteem, they have many misunderstandings about what women actually want, and they also usually have a porn or a sex addiction, which often makes this whole thing a lot worse. And women just ultimately don't find them attractive and instead view them as a friend. And many of these guys who are confused or even frustrated about their situation start to rationalize their results. They often rationalize it by saying that they're unable to get women or they're just not attractive enough, and some even blame women for hypergamy and wanting the winner. What I came to later realize that the worst problem was the porn and the sex addiction. On top of everything that I just mentioned, they would use sexual outlets and sexual escapes like pornography or sex workers to cope, which made them extremely emotionally disconnected to women. They started to see them purely as sex objects with no other value at all, and because of that, they become so emotionally distant and numb, they would go and pay for a woman who doesn't care about them at all a ton of money just to sleep with them. Now, the unfortunate thing is many people will say that due to women rejecting these nice guys or by no longer loving their husband, that is the reason why men become emotionally distant enough to sleep with a sex worker, but I do not believe that to be true. The rejection or the broken relationship brings a lot of pain for sure, and what they do with that pain is a choice. Do I step up? As a man, do I take control of my life to get the results that I want? Or do I choose to go and roll over and die and blame others and start to escape from my pain with short-term instant gratification pleasures with porn and sex workers? And I believe that is where men go wrong. I'm not judging them. I was in that pack too. I was one of those guys. But that is where men go wrong, because once you open the door for those sexual escapes, it's really hard to go back. The interesting thing is that it's really not the sex that these men really want. What they're really seeking for is intimacy and connection. Deep down, they are most attracted to the sex workers who give them perceived validation and intimacy. If the sex worker is able to fulfill that, great, he's going to be a loyal client forever. But if they're not able to fulfill that, if they're cold or they just don't care, they're showing zero emotion, then they're going to find someone else who can make them feel a certain way. But once this happens, the nice guy usually falls into a trap. He becomes infatuated with the idea that he can get whatever he wants, wherever he wants, and can have sex with a sex worker. I mean, think about it. That is the reason why the sex industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. It is because they have a grand slam offer. There is no effort or hardship on the man to go through. There's no hoops or jumps that he has to go through just to be able to have sex with a woman. He just goes online, sets up an appointment just to have sex, and it's that easy. And that is one hell of an offer. But you can only live off that sugar high for so long, because the thing that happens is that over a couple months, many times even years, depending on the frequency and honestly the need and the desperation for an escape with this magnitude, the novelty of it all just washes away. He starts to see the woman in her games. He starts to see through all the flattery and the pain, and really just the pain of all of the wasted energy income, all of the meaningless sex that means absolutely nothing, all the pain of, why am I even doing this as he's laying there, with the sex worker, and most of all, just the pain of not being able to get this from a real woman or even his wife becomes unavoidable. And that is the trap that these nice guys fall into. The escape was once exciting and exhilarating, but it becomes bland. And like most guys in the dating game, only a select few are willing to step up and change to get the results that they really want. In order for these guys to quit seeing sex workers and develop the relationship or the marriage that they want, they must be able to change their beliefs about themselves and even their views on women. And this is really one of the biggest reasons why men turn back to escorts despite really not seeing the value in it or wanting to quit to have a better life. Like, these beliefs are what holds guys back from having the life they want most. I've worked with many guys who had beliefs like, I'm not able to get women like this when I was single, and now that I'm married, this is my only chance to get the 10 out of 10, the attractive woman that I really want and had been lusting after all my life, but felt inadequate to get. He'll have beliefs like, I'm not worthy to get a girlfriend. And every time that he gets a chance to actually get that relationship or to escalate with a woman, he just self-destructs every single time because he doesn't believe he is worth it. And some guys even feel like going out and paying for it is really the only way that they can get what they really want. And obviously these are all, very limiting beliefs, but the thing is, over time, men start to develop these bad belief sets that make them incompatible with what they really want in a relationship and really with what they want in life. And it forces them to go back to sex workers because it's the only perceived solution that they have, when in reality, it's just not what they even want in the first place. So what we can learn from all of this is very simple. Your belief sets matter way more than you might think when it comes to relationships and dating. If a man possesses poor beliefs about himself, he will self-destruct with any opportunities that he has. And that is a large part why a lot of guys are struggling nowadays, is because they don't believe that they're worthy, or they believe that they even have a chance out there. As a man, this is probably the other reason why it's so difficult for these guys. And a big lesson that we can take away from all of this is when you're giving into your lust and you are using sexual escapes like pornography or sex workers, it only makes your problems in your dating life and just your life in general a lot worse. It just tanks your self-esteem, it makes you feel unconfident, and it prevents you from acting like the man that you really want to be. But there's a way out of this. By becoming free from your sexual vices, you can start to get better results within your own dating life, and you can start to feel confident and worthy. And honestly, everything just starts to flow naturally because you've built yourself up into an attractive man. You no longer have to think about what you want to say or even try to pre-plan conversations. The words just flow because you're allowing your body to take control. As men, our DNA is hardwired with a way to be able to attract and keep a woman. Like, we know within our DNA how to do it. We just have to stop tampering with our system and let it work the way that it was designed to do to get the real thing. And the best part about that is women can sense that sort of presence on the guy who is staying clean and is not giving into these, sexual escapes. You just feel different to a lot of different people. There's a real presence about you. But this requires you to stop relying on these sexual escapes and instead shift that energy into seeking a partner that is valuable, which is exactly what one of my clients did. Nick went from acting out with escorts, feeling behind in his dating life, but once he broke free from his sexual vices with pornography and sex workers, he started to go on different dates with a lot of different women, and he chose the one that he wanted to be in a relationship with. He didn't have to learn any game, he didn't have to learn any tactics or what to say, how to say, or pre-plan any of his conversations. It simply flowed from him. He just became him. And it was because he stopped tampering with his system and he allowed it to start to shift and work in favor of him and what he desires in life. I share this because I want to give you hope, especially if you're struggling with these sexual vices like porn or even sex workers, and you want to break free so that you can take control of your life. And if you're one of those guys, I definitely recommend going to the link below and booking a call with myself. We'll go over your situation, see if you're a good fit for recovery blueprints, and if so, we'll go over what that looks like, how it works, and how you can achieve freedom. And if you're not a good fit, no worries at all. You would have received a ton of value just from that one call within itself. So with that said, fellas, stay strong, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.